one of the oldest and best medicines known to men. It helps with killing cancer, with epilepsy, post-traumatic stress disorders, PTSD, diabetes, Crohn's disease, gout, pain relief, glaucoma, opioid dependence, treating alcohol abuse, insomnia, psoriasis, shingles, anorexia, asthma, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, migraines, Dravet syndrome, multiple sclerosis, and many more conditions. But African leaders banned it. Who instructs black leadership? Why do they hate this herb? It has also many industrial uses. Modern day use. It can be used in these areas: industrial textiles, paper, building materials, foods, industrial products, personal hygiene, granola seeds. Why did they ban it? Why black leaders ban cannabis? Who do they obey, the masses or someone else? Cannabis sativa was most likely one of the first crops planted by ancient men. You can see them here, the ancient men that used cannabis, that used this herb. Is it an African plant? It is known that it might have originated perhaps in Asia, but that doesn't matter. The Batonga people in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Malawi uses marijuana out of a pipe known as ingelwa or ndombolo. You can see him using it there. And there's more to this concerning the creation and the invention of the first pipe in pre-colonial times, very many years ago. Was mbanje or marijuana illegal in pre-colonial Africa? No, it was not. Etienne Zangato proves that early smoking pipes were already in use in northwestern Central African Republic. You can read this book indicated here. Smoking pipes were invented in sub-Saharan Africa as early as 600 before Common Era. Archaeologists have found pre-Columbian pipes in sites from Lake Chad to Ethiopia and south to Botswana. Africans invented water pipes, historically associated primarily with cannabis, and dry pipes associated primarily with tobacco. Only clay or stone pipe bowls survive in most archaeological contexts. You can see there it is. This is an African invention. Part of ancient culture that was destroyed by the banning of cannabis. About 4,000 years ago, ancient black people in Africa were already enjoying the benefits of marijuana. Upper Egypt, that spread through today's Sudan, could possibly be held responsible for the 2 smoking pipe balls that were discovered in Ethiopia, which shares its northern borders with Sudan. Possibly, they spread marijuana into Africa via Ethiopia, and it began a lot earlier, perhaps even during the time of the New Kingdom. Why? Because in ancient hieroglyphics, it is already there, known as Shem Shem Atu, indicated here. Common names: cannabis, hemp, and marijuana. Healing and spiritual use. Priestly role. Ancient Egyptian goddess Seshat is shown here wearing a hat, depicted a hemp leaf on her head. Cannabis pollen was also found in the mummies of Ramesses II and other various mummies. It can also be used, other than spirituality, it can also be used as anesthetic, suppositories in childbirth, and also healing and curing worms in your tummy, and also any clearing inflammation. Now, some African names. Rwanda and Burundi cannabis is known as urumag or suruma. Mbanje is is the term that is used in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, and northern Tanzania. Third, in Central Southern Africa, speakers of Soto and related languages call cannabis matohwane. Khoisan name is Daka or Daga, first documented in 1658. The word Daka is a modern version of ancient Khoisan word Daka, meaning intoxication or inebriation. You can see him here. He's gone, he's intoxicated, he's dancing, the greatest dancer. Also, you can see her, she's meditating far into consciousness. This is its use. Incense, guniti, fungaidza. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, pharmacological cults, the ceremonial use of incense in contemporary ritual is most likely a relic of the time when the psychoactive properties of incense brought the ancient worshipper in touch with the supernatural forces. This is where tobacco is used to invoke and to evoke a spirit. It's African, and also it's clear here in ancient Egypt. There you can see him invoking and using incense and tobacco and possibly cannabis. In temples of the ancient world, the main sacrifice was the inhalation of incense. We know this from African culture. That's why we call it guniti or fungaidza. Incense is defined as the perfume or smoke from spices and gums when burned in celebrating religious rites or as an offering to a deity. This is what Africans do. When you feel that the atmosphere is not comfortable, you should have guniti or fungaidza or incense, which you put on your ashes or hot coals or in incense or in bowels, and you walk around your house or your room spreading this incense. There, it's coming now under various technologies. What is cannabis? It is a dioecious plant. What does that mean? It means it's a plant that produces a male plant and a female plant, not in a single plant, but in separate plant. It either comes as a male or comes as a female. Hemp and marijuana are the same. Short answer is no, they are not. They are just both part of cannabis family. Overall, hemp is known to have over 25,000 possible applications, which we have already shown. Can you get high off hemp? It will destroy you. You can't. But only one of this family can do that. Hemp or marijuana, which one? Hemp can produce fiber, oil, or food and seeds. We have shown that. But marijuana is also the one with this healing or medical properties. It is the one that they banned. It is the one they didn't want, but they grouped everything together. Why? Because they didn't want something which we are going to review now. Is it cannabis? Hemp? Yes, it's cannabis. Marijuana? Yes, it's cannabis. What about its chemical makeup? Hemp has very low THC, about 0.03, so you can't 0.3%, you can't use it. Whilst marijuana has the high THC, over 35%. This is the chemical that creates that superconscious, that high you feel or psychoactive. So yes, it has psychoactive properties. Its cultivation, hemp, requires minimum care, adaptable to grow in most climates, and also can be used industrially, as we have shown. So you can see this is also, we go quickly on the estimated domestic value, monetary value. Marijuana is a $10 to $120 billion business, while the hemp, because of certain industrial conspiracies, is about only $500 million value. Why was it banned? Because it challenged and threatened industry. Our current model of industry would not be there if hemp was allowed, if hemp was not banned. And this is the man, Henry J. Aslinger, who said there are over 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the United States, and most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing result from marijuana use. This marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and others. Therefore, that's the reason they gave to ban it. Slavery and colonial finance and industry still rule Africa. Clearly, all our politicians are mere gatekeepers, bellboys, and they are useless when it comes to things that matters most to us. Hemp would have become America's greatest cash crop, and globally would have prevented a lot of pollution and disaster that is on the earth. Unfortunately, it was in direct competition against the gods of the earth-wise financial system and industrialists like the petrochemical industry, DuPont and Rockefellers. By making marijuana illegal, they effectively monopolized the marketplace and made billions over the coming years. Heast and Islinger were supported by Lamont DuPont of the DuPont Chemical Company and a variety of pharmaceutical corporations, all of which had a financial interest in defeating hemp to promote their own products. For example, DuPont began selling rayon, the first man-made fiber, in 1924. And invented nylon, a synthetic competitor to hemp, in 1935. One reason pharmaceutical and petrochemical companies disliked cannabis was because people could grow it themselves. That's why they banned it. Why did African governments ban cannabis? Ask any government leader in Africa or in the whole world why cannabis was banned. Here is the shocking answer. Because they follow what Europe and United States do without even considering local and native values. They do not represent African culture. Millions were killed, million lives were lost, destroyed, families destroyed because a person was caught with only a small joint of marijuana. Cannabis was listed in the United States pharmacopoeia from 1854 until 1941. In 1942, it was officially removed, and therefore Africans followed suit, ignoring all the African cults that believed that marijuana was holy and it was brought to the earth by the god. Know now that they are going forward to legalize it. Why? The Rastafarians said it long back, legalize it. Peter Tosh composed an album called Legalize It. Bob Marley said, when you smoke hemp, it reveals you to yourself. And possibly pitfalls because they've modified it, they've patented it, they've captured it, it is in their corner, and hence they move to legalize it. And African governments are moving on and boasting that they are doing something great. That's proof that African leadership on earth, specifically African governments, are both in the pockets of Big Pharma and big companies. They have no interest. That's why they want to legalize it now. They will go on boasting that they have done something great by legalizing what they should never have prohibited before. See, Zimbabwe has just become the second country in Africa to legalize cannabis cultivation, but the laws are still tough and hard. You can still go in jail. There are conditions that it is only for medical use only. Why? Why not grow hemp for industrial use? They can't. They are scared of big corporates who are in control. Is Monsanto and Bayer in the mix to take over the world of cannabis? Yes. It's quite clear. Corporate takeover of the marijuana industry by Bayer and Monsanto is already afoot. You can read this on this website. And we have lost the war already because GMO synthetics have already infested the whole earth, and young men, young women, thousands of them are going for spice or K2, which is destructive. The conclusion: cannabis is a good candidate for the tree of life because it can be used. It's also in the Bible, or Rastafarians also know it. Africans also use it for spirituality, and therefore the controlled perception and attitudes about cannabis is by far too conspiratorial. It is clear that if allowed to grow and be grown, mega modern industries like GMO products, food production, medical and pharmaceutical giants will come face to face with a real giant. Cannabis, hemp, will recreate and renaturalize the earth. That war they will lose. And thus the best they could do is to destroy the natural powers and the natural prowess of cannabis. Modify it, patent it, and capture it and put it in their corner, then legalize it. Tracing its essential role in the spiritual and curative traditions of Africa and Asia from prehistory to the present day bears open, compelling evidence that cannabis as an allergen used for thousands of years evokes peak awareness and peak experiences and flashes of expanded perception and spiritual awareness. That's why they ban it, because they don't want our consciousness to expand. Thus, cannabis smoking to induce expanded consciousness is not good for everybody. Not everyone must use it, but it must be prescribed by a herbalist, because it is connected with you, with your lunar cycle, and therefore you can never abuse it if you know the truth about it. It's time for us to restore again the use of this herb, the use, industrial as well as spiritual use of this herb. This is Priest Teacher Rabbi Elem Dumizulu. It's time to rebuild. Subscribe to our channel. You can get in touch and contact us on this email indicated here. Thank you. Goodbye.